everyone. Hello and welcome. I do want to say, Jessica, I'm very glad that you were dancing backstage because there are people that don't dance. And I was like, who are these people?
Who are these people?
That's what everyone I streamed with during the 24-hour write-a-thon, the few that were on that I did the countdown for, no dancing, just me by myself. And I was like, okay.
I just remembered that I can't comment in this chat and I have to open the other chat.
Hello. Yes, that is a thing.
I'm
everyone. Hello and welcome. Hi. Hooray. Hello. We are here.
Or are we?
Dun dun. No, that was more like I needed a different sound there. Let's see. Kai asks, how's camp going for everyone? Well, that's a good question. That is what we will be talking about in part during this stream. So for those of y'all who are new to AuthorTube Chat, hashtag AuthorTube Chat, welcome. This is where Jessica and I chat about various topics related to writing and reading because we have started a book club. Every other month, we read a book together and then we discuss the book. So that is what we're doing today as well. So that's usually at the end. But because of that book, we're going to be talking about foreshadowing. So how we foreshadow, if we think we're any good at foreshadowing, we're going to, with y'all in the group, discuss foreshadowing as a whole, maybe best books that we've loved that had some good foreshadowing or authors that we appreciate. Then we'll talk about Camp Nano, the book that we read together, which is One of Us is Lying. And then we will introduce the new, yay, by Karen McManus. And then we will introduce the new book club pick for the next 2 months, May and June. Yes.
That we picked 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, yes, we did. We were very prepared.
I don't want to lie to anybody. We don't have that together.
In case you weren't aware by our general demeanor, we do not have it together. Hello. Hi. I got to raid Azaria's channel this morning on Twitch because Twitch stopped working for me. And so we had some people recommend and said Azaria's live. And so that's what we did. Hello. Got all what?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Also, I've already told Miss Jess, but I'm going to forewarn y'all as well that I did get my, can y'all see my little band-aid, the second dose of the vaccine today, like 4 hours ago, and I have been chugging water all day and yesterday, even more water than I usually chug. So I might have to leave you in the great hands of Jess, maybe once, maybe twice throughout this stream. So
I'm here. I know how to do it.
Yes.
I know how to be the boss. I can be bossy.
Yes. Let's see. Well, do we want to start it off talking about foreshadowing? I wish I could poll, but just generally, people in the chat and Jessica, do you think you're good at foreshadowing? Like, is this something that is in your writer toolkit that you're like, yep, I got that one?
I think that, like, first draft me, maybe even second draft me, not great at foreshadowing. My brain knowing how I want to go back later and layer it in is decent.
Yeah.
Not amazing, but decent.
I agree. And the crazy part I found is the mysterious way the writer brain works is that sometimes I'll go back and, like, once I've gotten to the end of the book, I'm like, I know what I want to do finally. I'll go back to the beginning to rewrite it and finally sort of layer in the foreshadowing. And then I'll find foreshadowing that was already there. And I'm like, I can't tell if my brain knew that that's the direction I wanted to go before I, like, actually realized it or what. But sometimes it's just there. But usually I don't know that this is, like, in my toolkit. I'm working to add it to the toolkit, but it's not like it doesn't travel with me. You know, I got to work for it.
Not something that just happens.
Yes. That's what Kai says. Foreshadowing definitely takes shape for me in the second draft. Caro, something I'm working on in my edits of the first printed out version. That's the other thing. I actually really love having a printed out version when I try to do foreshadowing. Something about being able to so much easier flip pages.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, I suck at it, but work on improving it.
As we almost do.
I'm not good at it because I never finish anything. That is a mood. I'm not good at foreshadowing at all. I'm good at foreshadowing with my characters play along. Oh, I appreciate your comment now, Jess. I understand.
There are characters that play along. What?
Grayson says yes. No, depends on the character with me, honestly. Yes. That is interesting. Okay, you and Athena both kind of. I don't know that I realized it depended on the characters. Maybe my characters also just don't play along.
I've had characters that, like, especially in my high fantasy where there's different species, I've had characters completely change species in the middle of the book. Like, they were like, actually, I should be one of these people instead.
You were wrong. Yes.
I'm like, oh, you're right. That does work better for this story. Thank you.
Yeah. I will never get over how it is your brain that is coming up with all these characters. But then sometimes the characters do feel like they're talking back at you and are like, fix this. And you are at the mercy of the characters and are like, okay, but it's all just your brain. Like, how?
Like, all right, I guess.
If you say so. Mercurial Thrill says, I'm somewhat good at foreshadowing. If I plan it out in my outline, I'm good at it. It usually starts coming together in the second or third draft. I was going to say, I feel like mine's like a third draft that I'm like, okay, finally I can come back through with the, oh, bless you. Come back through with the foreshadowing. Yeah. This is not related to foreshadowing, but since I asked if that was in your toolkit, what are y'all like particularly good at? That's like definitely in your writer toolkit. You're like, I freaking got this. Because for me, it's dialogue. I always feel like I got good dialogue, some good banter. It's like my favorite part too. I think in part because it comes so easily. So Jess, what's definitely in your toolkit? Like just right at your pocket.
Nothing. I mean, I can do the banter and the snark. I'm very snarky. My characters are all very snarky. I don't know where they get that from. That's weird.
Who knows?
So I definitely get the banter weird, and I also somehow am able to get like those like tearjerker moments. I'm good at those.
Oh, yeah. That is
or
a good one.
I think so. I don't really know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so weird. What was I watching or who was I listening to? I wish I could give credit to this, but anyways, they were basically saying how it's so funny how writers immediately backtrack us saying we're any good at anything. It might have been Cam when I was on a live stream with him actually, but it's like compared to other things where you can be like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this. Like when I played tennis, I was like, yeah, I have a pretty good serve. I have a good net game. Like I would be fine with saying like those were my best. But in writing, we're always like, I think I'm pretty good at this, but actually maybe that's just my opinion and I'm actually terrible at it and who knows.
That is exactly it. Yeah. How did you know? It's almost like you're a writer.
Yeah. Like Find the Color says, I had absolutely no foreshadowing in my first draft. I've been adding it in draft 2. I'm also curious if there's anyone who like doesn't focus on foreshadowing at all. I definitely play into it more with fantasy and like mystery. I feel like it's a hallmark of mystery to have foreshadowing in there and hints and clues along the way. But sometimes I have, like, if I'm doing my contemporary romance stuff, there might be a couple things that you allude to later, like the lessons, but I don't know that I need to foreshadow too much, if that makes sense.
Also, in things like a contemporary romance, going off on a spiel, I read yesterday, I finished the last Brown Sisters book, whatever it is. Grow Up Eve Brown? Maybe, I don't know, whatever the third one is. I just read it yesterday. Who knows what it's called? It's too long ago. I feel like in contemporary romance, in that vein, like, even with just a little bit of foreshadowing, you know where the plot's gonna go. You know exactly what's gonna happen, but it's the journey that gets you there that's the good part. Like, you don't care that you already know what's gonna happen. You're enjoying the journey. So even foreshadowing can be, like, heavy-handed, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
That's true. I feel like especially with contemporary romance, like there's the expectation is I know I'm getting a happily ever after here. Like that's what I want from my contemporary romance. That's what I'm expecting. So when you know so much of like, okay, they're gonna kind of get together, we're gonna see the cute romance, and then something's gonna break them apart, and then okay, they get back together at the end or whatever. Like you have an expectation for it. It's
You
just
know,
how.
yeah. Scarlett said, "Act your age, Eve Brown." I'm like, I know it's something about growing up, being an adult. I don't know, something like that.
Ah,
That's a very pretty picture too.
it is. Jennifer was saying I can do dialogue and descriptions extremely well. Foreshadowing, forget about it. Not happening.
Fair enough.
Oh, wait, I don't foreshadow, I said it before, or I do foreshadow irrelevant events as a play on the reader at max. That's funny.
I mean, gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah. Joanna, I feel like I'm good at writing emotionally damaging arguments. That's such a specific thing, and I love it so much.
Can't complain. Everybody's gotta be good at something, I think.
Grayson says, good at displaying struggle and pain. Also description when I'm not rushing thanks to excitement. I do think if given a good amount of time, I'm pretty good at description. It's usually I'm just so excited that I gloss over it. So I'm always having to add it back.
I always like waffle at how much is too much. So I probably err on the side of caution and don't do enough, but that's a whole other thing for a whole other day.
Yeah. How much description is too much description? It'll just come back to it depends.
On the person reading it, the story you're telling.
Yeah. My text foreshadows me. Oh, that's an interesting way to say it. That's, again, very specific. I only have good dialogue when writing criminals.
I mean, that's a good that's a good thing to have if you're writing books with criminals in them. If not, then it's a weird strategy.
Right? You're writing like children's novels with no criminals.
Then that's gonna be a little weird.
Foreshadowing is a fix and in post option for me. Same.
Fair.
See, Grayson, I do too much at first always. I go back a second time and trim down what's needed. We are just opposite writers, Grayson. Over here, like, put the words back in. Where are they?
I thought there was more.
I'm okay at descriptions and emotional arcs, maybe. Yeah. So if y'all could give advice, like what's your favorite foreshadowing advice? Or as you're going back through, what kind of events do you know to foreshadow? How much do you foreshadow? These are the questions. Because I'll say
list of the questions before.
Huh?
I want a list of the questions before next time.
I know I didn't prep you at all. And then I'm asking questions where it's like, let me tell you my entire novel, and then you will understand how I foreshadowed.
Right. If I tell you the whole thing, then you'll get it.
Yeah, that was Aaron's got it down. Shadow in the 4. Yes. That feels like an appropriate answer to the string of questions I asked.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know. Like again, it probably depends on like the story, what I'm trying to foreshadow. Like, is it a standalone? Is it a series? Is it like all of those things I think kind of play into it?
Mm-hmm.
And what things do I think are more important than others? And if it's super important, do you like try to pull the rug out from someone? Like, are you trying to make it like a huge impact, or are you trying to make it just a little bit? Like, I mean, there's a lot of variables here, Kate.
There are a lot of variables. Well, actually, hearing you say that, some of my favorite books, with the exception of mysteries where like the promise is like kind of I could figure it out on my own, I actually love a mixture of you sprinkled along the way about this thing and then having one thing where I'm like, it came out of nowhere. Like there, I don't mind a full twist that like the characters didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. Like I don't mind that. It's just that every piece can't be that. So if you have other stuff where you're sprinkled, yeah,
I agree that like, I mean, and some people like that. Some people like a book where like you get to the end and you're like, I don't even understand how any of this happened.
yeah.
But I do prefer like a little bit of at least like me trying to piece some things together on the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, I read House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland this weekend. There is a huge plot twist that I saw coming, but couldn't figure out how it would happen or why. And it made it unplausible to me. Like you in your brain, you're like, I bet X, Y, Z is going to happen. But then as the book goes on, you're like, there's no way that's even possible. Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And then it happens. And then you're throwing the book across the room and you're freaking out. Like, how did what just happened to me?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, and that's good too. Like if you foreshadow it, but also put in things where you like are backtracking on your foreshadowing so that when you get there, it is a bigger
shock. Well, and I also like the idea of foreshadowing the why, but the how being a complete mystery or a complete like surprise or vice versa. Yeah, like that. I think that's a really good point.
This for me.
Yes.
That we'll talk about later.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. Also my royal life. Yeah. The one thing I've heard is there any twist should be surprising, but logical when looking back. I really like that too.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to do, I have a character in the Meridian maps where his background becomes really important and it kind of guides his actions, but we don't find out about it until the end of the first book. But looking back, you can definitely see all the things once you know it. And that's something I've worked on other drafts to be like, okay, this needs to be this so that this is this and this. I don't know that I do it well for anything else in that book, but his character, I'm like, haha.
I do like a book that you like when you finish, you want to immediately reread.
Yeah.
Like to try to put the pieces together and to see what you can see the second time around.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. There's very few authors that do that for me.
Yeah.
That when I finish reading it, I'm like, I'm going to give this a couple of days and then I'm going to pick it up and read it again.
Yes. That would be the dream. I don't think that. Anything that needs foreshadowing to make sense, if your character gets a new power. Oh, okay, that's a good point. Yeah. For things that you have to set it up. Otherwise, it feels like a cop-out. That's true. I feel like, yeah. That's something that you can fix, too, where you're like, if in the first or second draft, you're rereading and you're like, this kind of feels like a cop-out, like they didn't earn this, then foreshadowing really helps with the feeling like it's been earned kind of thing.
Or when you're like, how did this happen? And the only answer is magic.
Magic. That's what Hilla mentioned the thing at least 3 times if it's a big point for the plot. Something I realized is that readers will miss stuff too. So like, even though you think you're being obvious because you know all the answers, readers don't know the answers yet. So they're not going to pick up on every single clue you lay out.
You pick up on the things that you think are important, and that doesn't necessarily mean they are as a reader.
Yeah.
And you get to the end and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And then you read it again and you're like, I missed all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Grayson, if it's a small thing, I foreshadow once or twice. If it's bigger, I leave a few little nuggets along the way. That feels good. Surprising and yet inevitable. I foreshadow big twists and discoveries in the story, things which are impactful and unstoppable to the characters. Ooh, double twist. Satisfying to both feel like you nailed a twist you thought was coming and also be surprised. Yes. Hi, Keelan. Empty Kingdoms. When I'm reading, I don't even think of twists. All I need is that the language feels good. If it's well written, it suits me. Most of the time, it borders on poetry, plot gets see, and that's what it depends on the reader, you know? Because to me, I think we probably have opposite tastes in books. I'm like, characters are first, plot, and then like I do appreciate a lyrical book, but if it starts bordering on poetry for me, I'm like, I will not understand this. Like, it'll take me a little bit too long to read. Not that it's not beautiful, but it'll just take me too long to read and I'll like won't get it.
That's definitely my order as well, which I think is part of the reason why I am like trash for Cassandra Clare, because I have so much love for the character work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about like the plots because they're all the same and whatever, but like the characters and their interpersonal relationships, that's why I'm there.
Yeah.
If anyone ever needs to know why I'm still reading those at 34, that's why.
Well, but also like there's definitely a growing up with it, no matter the time you started reading it, but like a growing up with it feeling. Like she's been making those books for like 14 years or something. More than that.
Yeah. It's been a
And you've
minute.
been reading them since a while. But speaking of that, and unrelated to foreshadowing in all of our conversations, but do you remember I was chatting with you and Becca once about I watched this guy that Brooke introduced me to called Dylan is in Trouble. And he's recently been doing this thing where he watches the first episode of a series and then the last episode and like kind of guesses what happens in between. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try it with the Mortal Instruments series. I'm going to read the first chapter and then the last chapter. So I reread the first chapter because I've read the first book. And I remember being like, yeah, this is kind of why I was into it the first time I read the first part of the first book kind of thing. Like, I get why it got so popular. And then I went to read the epilogue of that series. The epilogue was like 50 pages, and I decided, you know what? This ain't worth it. I did it. There were like a couple names that I didn't recognize at all, and I was like,
That series was originally intended to be a trilogy, so you would do better to read the last chapter of the third book rather than
how complete. Again, we're on a tangent now. Welcome aboard. We're on it. Yeah. How did you feel about it being expanded? Like, can you tell that it should have been a trilogy and maybe stopped there, or did you like where it went in? Because it's 5 books, isn't it? The 6.
I think universally, with the exception of, I would say like it's a very small percentage of people that like the 4th book. Most people feel like the 4th book is a filler book. I think it could have been a 5-book series and been fine, but there is so much that happens in the last book, the 6th book, that sets up the rest of like the next series because you've got so many that it wouldn't be possible without that.
Okay, interesting.
And I think that's why they went from the original trilogy to add more books in versus making that trilogy and then another trilogy, because there's not enough content in those last 3 books for it to be another trilogy, despite the fact that they're like 700-page books.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Because I couldn't live without book 6, and I agree with that, because that epilogue and the last couple chapters of that book, like, I just cried the whole time. Like, it is so, like, it hurts.
Yeah.
She hurts you.
She hurts you. It's mean. I'm going to take a picture of this comment because I don't think I know that book, but I will look it up.
It's like one of the most popular dark academia books.
Oh, okay. This is my confession, my Boomer Squad confession. I don't fully get dark academia. Like, I understand it's like a vibe. Is it more than a vibe? Or is it a vibe? Like,
honestly, as I am older than you and Cam and Brooke, older than everyone in the Boomer Squad, I don't know.
Okay.
I think that it it has to be in an academic setting,
which I love.
I do think it has to be dark in content.
Okay.
So more than just like I mean, it's definitely like a vibe thing, but there's also like other things that it requires. Much
Okay.
like if something is like a gothic novel, like it has a vibe, but there also has to be like key
That's what, yeah.
plot points. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, like almost tropes or something like.
Trope. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
I think it's I don't understand what the key tropes in a dark academia would be. Like I kind of get the vibe. I'm here for the setting. It's the what's supposed to happen. It's an aesthetic. Yeah. Boarding school and death. These are two of my favorite things. I need to hop on the dark academia train then. Seems to be
I have read, which you would probably like because you like mysteries.
I do.
Oh my God, the book's by M.L. Rio. What the heck is the name of the book? Help a girl out.
M.L. Rio?
Yep. It's a Shakespeare retelling ish. Oh my God. There's a skull on the cover.
Wait, with the M.L. Rio? Oh, that is okay. Initials. Books. Oh, this is, I swear, how every stream devolves. If we were villains?
Yes, that.
Oh.
That book is really good.
I've heard that. I will read that.
That is the only book that is considered dark academia that I have read.
Okay.
So
hold on. If we were villains and
The Secret History by Donna Tartt.
Thank you so much. You knew what I was. Every time we do one of these, I end up with literally 10 new tabs open.
I think the Secret History is definitely one that people either like give it the highest praise or say that it should be burnt and thrown into a trash can.
See, so. I kind of like that though. As Jess and I will attest, yeah. I like having very strong differences of opinions about a book. That just makes it fun when you're discussing.
It makes the book discussions more.
Yeah. Also, to bring us back a little bit, Chloe, once I started writing, I've noticed I pick up on foreshadowing more. I definitely think that's true too. Not just once I've started writing, but once I've actively been trying to write foreshadowing or fix in foreshadowing, I can totally pick up what's going on more often now.
My foot's asleep and there's a dog asleep under my desk and I can't put my foot on the floor. It's killing me. Oh, there it is.
Poor pup.
I made
it. Kara says the foreshadowing the Wheel of Time is unbeatable. I always think I'll give it another try, but I just have not yet.
I've never tried. I don't know that I will because it's not in my writing style. Like not in my preferred read, which is fine.
I think that's all. Yeah. Sometimes, you know what? It's good to know what your style is and just being like, you know, not for me. Okay. If we were, is it a subgenre? Oh, that's an interesting to like mystery. Well, I do wonder because especially as, I mean, I don't know that it started on TikTok, but as TikTok's blowing up and as more and more writers on TikTok, I've seen a lot of these like, it's cottagecore. Like I'm seeing more books being pitched as this kind of aesthetic or vibe. And I think that's really interesting. So I would like to see it over time eventually become like a sort of known subgenre. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Oh, some people take it a little far and base their whole life on museums. So they spending a lot of time studying, reading, going to museums. It is a lifestyle vibe aesthetic. Dead Poet Society. Oh, I like that
movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Shar just read a book on plot structure and now picks up on it quickly.
Fair.
It becomes more obvious over time. Yeah. Also, hi, Haley. More and more because of oh yeah, for sure. It started off on Tumblr. What happened?
Tumblr.
Oh no, Tumblr. It really is.
Really booming it over there, aren't you?
I am. Cannot pronounce it. Cottagecore really took off last year with Animal Crossing. That's where I first heard of it, and then it grew. Again, I just appreciate. appreciate all of it. It's
I
fascinating.
didn't hear it until people were talking about one of Taylor Swift's albums, but again, I'm old, so I haven't used Tumblr since Tumblr came out in like 2002, y'all.
Well, I was a dummy and thought Tumblr was dead. So I was like, didn't it die? Like, didn't they sell it off and like now hardly anyone uses it? I could be wrong. I just thought that's what
No,
had happened.
I got an email a month or two ago about my blog name on Tumblr, and was like, if you don't log in soon, it's your account's been inactive for so long. If you don't log in soon, it's going to like be thrown back into the universe of names that can be used. And I was like, that's still around? Okay.
I have TikTok still, but I don't use TikTok as much as I thought I was going to. It's still fun to watch, but I actually just deleted Twitter off my phone today. I am not active on Twitter, but I would use it to check in on stuff. And I just finally was like, I don't need this on my phone. I'm listening to this book, actually. It's like, I was going to say How Not to Pay Attention, but that's not the name of the book. It's a nonfiction book about the attention economy and stuff. So anyways, they were talking about it, and I was like, you know what? I should just delete Twitter. So I feel like I'm out of the loop on some things.
I went through and used one of those services where like they'll delete your old tweets. And I deleted everything that wasn't made in like the last year. And I've been on hiatus for a year. I mean, like there's a couple of things on there, not a whole lot. I do have it on my phone because the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge that I'm doing, they do announcements via Twitter. So I have it on my phone so that I can have the alerts for that set up, and that's it.
And that's it.
I don't have to open the app to go to it and look for it. I just get an alert that there's a message. I read the message. I close the app.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a healthy way to do it. It literally is just that Twitter wasn't healthy for me, but I do like I'm allergic to social media. This is an excellent point, though. And again, welcome to the full diversion we're on now, but I only use Twitter for Pit Mad. There was an LGBT like pitch contest I thought I saw, or like they had a version of their own Pit Mad, and I only found out about it like the 2 days after it was happening. And I was like, well, this is really cool for the future maybe, but I don't even know if I'd want to use Twitter for that kind of thing either. I like reading pitch contests, but like, I don't know.
I did download TikTok to my phone.
Yes.
Because I found out that my nephew, who is 12, has one. So it's specifically just to check his posts and make sure that he's not doing anything he shouldn't do.
I mean, that's probably smart.
That's like the only thing. Well, because I mean, Nana doesn't have TikTok, so she's not following his post to make sure he's not doing anything wrong. So,
yeah, I love video essays, like the video essay community. I'm here for it.
I don't know what that is.
And also Haley was on Twitter and didn't find out about it until later. Okay. I love how many of us think that. I've actually been seeing more and more authors lately too leaving Twitter, or just like keeping it up and having their agent or publicist or whoever manage to run it for them. So
it can be a very toxic environment, but it can also be used for good things. So
yeah. Well, I just think about how many friends I've made on AuthorTube, and I know there's a bunch of people who made friends on like book Twitter or author writing Twitter or whatever kind of stuff too. So yeah, it's definitely one of those good things can come of it as well. I just don't get
I'm still friends with people that I made friends with from MySpace in 2002. So
yeah. Oh my God. Rest in peace, top 8.
I want my top 8 back.
It's so funny. I cannot imagine that existing now, but the idea of it gives me glee.
The fact that we had nothing better to do with our lives than spend hours and hours copying, pasting code, trying to make our page, like putting new backgrounds, picking out which song was going to play, which song was going to be at the beginning of the playlist, so that when someone opened your page, that was the first song they heard. Like, anybody was going to your profile. You're not that cool. You're 12. I mean, come on.
Amazing. I know. I know. Oh, man. Anyways, let's see. Foreshadowing?
Foreshadowing. I foreshadow that MySpace is going to crumble and Facebook will become king. Oh, wait. That's just me telling the past.
Let us know if you have any other questions about foreshadowing. But otherwise, I would also like to talk about Camp NaNoWriMo. Miss Jess, how's it going for you?
Hold on, wait. I will tell you. The answer's not good, but I will tell you.
Perfect.
What month is this? April?
Yeah.
A good sign. I don't know how many words I have, but I know that it's less than 4,000 out of the 20,000 I wanted to get. So less than 4 out of 20. However, we picked 3 projects. And by we, I mean me and my hands and the hat I was pulling projects out of. We picked 3 projects.
Fully responsible.
Right. I don't know who is more responsible, but I picked to finish my short story outline, to finish the outline for my portal fantasy, or wait, no, that's a lie. To finish the outline for one of my other fantasies, and then to actually write the plot ideals brainstorm for the portal fantasy that just has like a prologue and an epilogue currently and nothing in the middle. And so far I have finished the outline of the short story. The first draft of the short story is done.
Yay!
Got that.
That's
one
awesome.
thing done.
Yeah. I mean, that's still an accomplishment, I feel like. Also,
I'm working on the second one.
Yeah, the month's not over. And I still cannot get over that being how you picked it. I love it. I will attempt it at some point. But it is still my favorite thing.
High level chaos.
It is high level chaos. Grayson's bookmark is finishing their goal today, then rereading their manuscript. Heck yeah. My royal life finished one of my camp goals by a lot. The other camp goal I need to start at some point, but I have time. You do. I feel like we're still, I mean, we're 2/3 of the way through. I was about to say we're only halfway through, and that's not true. Yeah, but that's awesome. I am on like chapter 4, so I don't think, as I have 18 chapters, that that's going to happen like I thought it was. So, Jessica, our progress is about the same.
What's the real says, did I hear Portal Fantasy? I heard Portal Fantasy was dead, even though it's my work in progress. If you were here earlier, I was talking about reading House of Hollow earlier this weekend, and it is like super popular right now, and it is technically a portal fantasy.
Oh, I'm gonna look this up.
So very dark, very creepy, some weird ass plot twists, but it is a portal fantasy, and that's kind of how my portal fantasy is as well. As I was reading it, I was like, well, someone might have just wrote my book better than me, but okay, continuing on.
I think it's important, what's the real, to recognize how quickly, I know trad pub is slow, but at the same time, trends change all the time. So something might be dead, and all it takes is one thing to kind of blow it up, and then it's alive again. It's alive and well. So,
yep.
Would you like to explain what portal fantasy is?
A portal fantasy is where it's a fantasy and there's like a portal to another world. So you're in one world and in another world. Usually portals are things that like you happen upon and kind of fall through, versus like if you lit like if you're familiar with like DC or Marvel Comics, they have like multiverses where there's multiple universes. That's not necessarily a portal because it's Like you have to do science to get there.
Yeah.
It's usually like Fey portals or something of that sort.
It's like the Chronicles of Narnia and Inuyasha, and those are my examples.
I should not have mentioned anything about the multiverse with Haley in the comment section.
I know.
I did.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Yes.
Wonderful example.
Absolutely.
Does Outlander count? I would count that. It's like weirdly historical and portal.
Well, it is technically, from what I understand. I haven't read it.
From what I was going to say.
But I think it is the basis that she kind of falls through a portal into the past.
Yeah.
So Barbie and the Secret Door explains it. The trailer for that explains it. I mean, that's genius.
I have not heard of that, but like I feel like the title alone kind of gives it away too. Oh, Stephanie finished their camp goal last week. Heck yes. Also, I see you with Chris Beatty's book. No plot, no problem.
I need that.
Yeah. Sarah broke 50K. Hooray! Still so much to write though, but you freaking crushed it. That's awesome. Exhibit fiction. Finish their camp. Today, what is up with today? Way to go, y'all.
Y'all are killing it.
My goal for Camp NaNo was finishing my second draft, and I finished. I still want to do a quick reread, though. I don't know. I thought I might have read that one earlier, but that's awesome.
You got 10 days.
Haley's trying to reach 70K on this rewrite by the end of the month. You can do it, Haley.
You got this.
Yes. Historical portal. Yes. I have not read Secrets of
Never heard of that.
I've also not read 10,000 Doors of January, but I like that as a title. That's cool.
It's Alex E. Harrow.
Oh. Okay. Oh, it's like super popular, and I just am not in the know. That feels right.
I've never talked about it before, so you wouldn't know it.
How would I know? Jessica, as my source of books.
How would you know?
To be fair, right now I'm finally reading Mort. I'm finally reading some of the first Discworld novels. So, like, me catching up with books is very, very miss. I'm a little bit behind.
I haven't read any Discworld at all, so you're doing better than me.
Well, also different taste again, too. Not that I don't think you'd like it. It's really funny, but, like, it's not your
tastes in books.
What? Oh, I'm reading Italo Calvino's book named If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler. That's also a cool.
That's an amazing title.
Yeah, what? Let me just look something else up again.
It's like, need a new tab open.
I do, yep. Also, I am loving it. It's amazing. I actually went to the library and picked up the second book in the series, or Following the Death, because you can pick up anywhere-ish in the series. So I think I'm going to do all the death ones, and then I'm going to do the, like, witch sister ones next. So that's my plan, but they're very funny. It's like, it's so good, Jess. There are parts that are so funny, I like almost get mad. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm like, it's both stupid humor and witty humor. And I just want to, like, how can one person be so great at writing? That's how I feel.
When you finish a book and you're like, why do I even try?
Yeah, I'm totally getting the feeling of why do I even try? But I'm loving it, so I can't be too mad. The Dolly writer technically finished Camp Nano goal yesterday, or sorry, you already finished, by figuring out the whole plot with the zero draft. Now I'm attacking the official first draft. That's awesome. Autumn Beauty, my goal for Camp Nano is to start writing my first draft, 80,000 words. Good luck. That's awesome. Shall we? I'm really all over the place. Oh, wait, let me go back. Someone actually had a question about foreshadowing. They were saying, what's a great example of foreshadowing, or one of your favorite? Here we go. Thank you, Simone. Favorite example of foreshadowing done in book or media? Oh,
Well,
I know. I was like, I don't know that off the top of my head.
it is hard to explain to like an example without spoiling everything.
That is an excellent point. Maybe just say
The Thing.
What's the Real says favorite example of foreshadowing is Hunger Games.
Like, you could explain that one because I'm pretty sure everybody's read those by now.
It's definitely one of those that, like, if you haven't read the Hunger Games at this point, I don't think you can really get mad at people for discussing.
If you haven't, then you're not going to, probably. So
Avatar: The Last Airbender is a good example. Sanderson's a good example. The boyfriend said that Sanderson's starting the next book in the second era of Mistborn, and I really like this, but apparently he has on his website like a countdown and a progress tracker for how far along he is, so you can like log on every other day or whatever and see the updated amount. And I'm like, I don't think I could do that, but I love that idea. WandaVision.
WandaVision. Do, 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 do.
Lost has amazing foreshadowing. Oh,
I know the theme song for WandaVision, but I don't know what the foreshadowing is. Hi.
Yes. Gone Girl. I just rewatched this. JC, I just rewatched this like 3 days ago. I don't know how you're reading my mind, but I agree. I haven't read the book, but in the movie, I really love how they did that.
Don't read the book.
Don't read the book? Really? Was it bad?
It's very graphic.
Well, did you watch the movie?
No, because I read the book.
That's fair. Okay.
And went, ooh, I'm good.
Shay, Broadchurch. Oh my God. I watched Broadchurch and I called it. I cannot tell you. I didn't call why. So this is a great example of what Jess and I were saying earlier, where it's like the why or the how something, but I called it on the first episode and the boyfriend was so mad. Because it's just like every episode I'm like, oh, it's that person. Oh, so good. That miniseries though, I haven't seen the second season yet, but my goodness. Let's see. Yes, Broadchurch. We're all just like,
I don't even know what it is.
Jess, it's a murder mystery of sorts. A child ends up dead on a beach in Broadchurch. And so it's just unraveling the whodunit and the whydunit. So it's done so well. And they also have so many misdirects that at a certain point, you're like, it really could be any of these like 4 or 5 characters. You're like, who is it? Until, of course, they narrow the scope. But it's foreshadowing Bridgerton. I'm trying to think of the Bridgerton foreshadowing. I've only seen
or read it, so I've got nothing on that.
It's worth watching. It's very Bad Wolf foreshadowing in Doctor Who. I feel like this is all of us. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did really like that. I agree, Melanie. Thank you. I don't know why a lot of these other examples I'm over here, like, I will have watched the thing and don't know what foreshadowing you're talking about. And then as soon as you say what the thing is, I'm like, oh, yeah. 6 of Crows. It is. Yes, Laura. I freaked out. I was like, it's him. Anyways. Merlin. This is us just all freaking out collectively.
I don't know any of this context. I'm just here.
Hey, what? Did you watch Merlin, Jess?
No.
Okay, I need you to stop watching the Vampire Diaries and start watching Merlin, because if there's ever been a show where I'm like, Jess is gonna love this, it'll be Merlin.
I think I started watching it at some point, but like when I started watching it, only like the first season or something was on Netflix, and I was like, whatever, I'll come back to it later. And There has been no later. I'm just now watching Vampire Diaries, okay? It's been out for like a decade or more.
I'm just saying I need you to stop and start watching Merlin. It's so good. It is so good.
I've been watching Vampire Diaries for like 3 months and I'm only on season 5. It's not been that long, but it feels like it.
I'm surprised you haven't quit yet. I don't think I've ever made it to season 5.
I love it.
Do you? Okay.
I'm having a great time. I love it. I'm having a great time. Here's the thing. I do not find really any of the men super attractive on that show.
Oh.
And so like people are like, oh, you're just watching it because, you know, they're cute or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm here for like the like absolute trash travesty that is this life, like all of the drama. I don't like real life drama. I don't like real life drama shows. Like I know that you guys do, not my jam, but like that kind of trash drama, I'm here for.
Yeah.
Artificial trash drama.
No, I think that's fair.
I love Arthurian legend, so like Merlin is definitely in my wheelhouse, but
I'm telling you, it has all the things you love. It's got like great banter and the characters are so endearing. It's okay.
on these days.
Yes, yes.
On the list.
Trash fantasy shows are my comfort shows. Yeah. Legend Boerne, I have not.
Was amazing.
Is that the one I've seen? Yes, okay, I've seen everyone. I recognize it better by the covers at this point. I need to. Jessica, are you gonna watch the originals after?
Well, yeah.
I need you to actually Merlin and then the original. They're both
someone told me, I think it was Becca, told me like which episodes I have to watch back to back, like originals Vampire Diaries, because it's like one part's in one and one part's in the other kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I only watched like the first couple episodes of Merlin.
Yes. And her arc, yes. So much
like,
better. We're just
Katie McGrath is amazing. Like I love her. So like don't get me wrong. My question is, did it end on its own terms or did it get canceled? Like, is there a definitive ending?
I actually don't know that I've ever made it all the way to the end, but I feel like I heard, I think I didn't make it to the end because I heard what the ending was and I didn't like what I heard. This is what I'm remembering. So it's like the show's a great journey and a ride, but I don't remember liking what I heard. So
okay. Well,
sorry,
I have no, like, I get like deep into these TV shows and it makes me crazy when they get canceled and there's no ending.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so at the time, there was nothing like, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ending that isn't great. Got it. Someone said you can't start a new show because you have to watch Shadow and Bone. I can't watch that because I haven't finished reading the books yet. I still have 3 more books to go before I can watch the show.
I think I might actually just watch the show and not read the books. I still want to give the first book another try because I listened to it on audiobook ages ago and I think I just didn't jive with the narrator. So I want to give it another chance in physical format, but I might just watch the show instead.
Well, I've already read the first 2 books in the Grisha trilogy, so I should finish the third and then read Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows.
Yeah.
I feel like if I've already read 2, I should finish reading the other 3 before I watch the series. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, especially since you're already in it.
Yeah.
Also, here's the problem. Jess and I both read the book. I think, was it not our first book?
It was our very first book for the AUTHORTUBE Chat book club.
And we both did not like this book. So even though I love the main character, the guy, or the actor, I have not brought myself to watch it. I hope it's better than the book. And some people love the book. So, you know, I do think I might.
The books are very popular and there are a lot of people that love it. And Kate and I both are in the camp of, had we not been reading it for our book club, we would have DNF'd it.
We would have DNF'd it. But actually, I think we both said at the time, too, that it would have made a better show or movie. Like, I would have been more willing to watch the story unfold than I would read. Because it just felt like it's... Oh, no, Joanne. Oh, no.
Shadow and Bone is going to be on Netflix. And they are mixing the trilogy and the duology together. They're going to be doing both things at the same time. So there's going to be characters from both the trilogy and the duology at the same time. I don't know how that works because I haven't read them all yet, so I don't know. But Ben Barnes, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Facts. Okay, Ninth House is 10 out of 10. I have wanted to read that. I think it unfortunately had that thing where it was super hyped up following Six of Crows, but it was a notable different genre for the author. And so even though there was so much hype, I remember after it came out, all people were complaining about was that it was a different genre, or like the age was different. And they were like, how dare? And so I never even knew if people liked it or not. Like, that's all I heard.
Scarlet, even the torture scene was boring.
That's true.
I'm not wrong.
I agree. Yeah. Shall we also, as we're just talking about TV and books and stuff, this happens every time, and it is my favorite part. It's the best.
We are discussing good points in both television and books, so we need to know these things so that we can write them.
This is important. Yes, yeah. This is homework for us as writers. This is our work study, like, of course. When do we want to talk about our book club pick? Since I think the foreshadowing in it was a plus for the book.
Whenever.
Whenever.
Let's be
Duology takes place after the trilogy, so they're creating backstories for all the characters, and it's content not from Six of Crows. Oh, that's really cool, actually.
And Lee said that they've been working with her to create that backstory for the characters. They took in her opinion of where they would have been and what they would have been doing in that time period.
The characters. Yeah, that's really cool. I do love that TV shows are doing that a little bit more now, taking the author into account.
But also Ben Barnes.
Ben Barnes.
But he knows I exist. So
wait, what?
So
I need this story.
several years ago, there was Ben Barnes was he played Sam Adams in a movie on the History Channel. It's like a miniseries on the History Channel about the Founding Fathers. It might be called Founding Fathers. I don't know. So they did some bomb ass, like, the costuming was real good, which was it historically accurate? I don't know, but it was just very pretty and I very much enjoyed it. And I made a post about it on the Facebook, and Ben Barnes liked my post. He knows I exist.
He liked the thing that I said.
He liked the thing that I said about work that he did. He knows I exist.
I'm over here trying to find it now. I'm like, wait a second.
That's my story. What? It was actually a really good miniseries, like, in general. Anyway, I like history, so
Sons of Liberty?
That's the one.
Have I seen that? Hold on. I need to see more of the...
You don't remember if you've seen it?
Then no, I haven't seen it. And also I'm looking at it now and I have not seen it. I saw some other like history related show that I obsessively watched for like 8 episodes and then didn't watch anything else of. So I keep trying to find what it was, but who knows?
I think that was only like 4 episodes. And I just caught it one year on the 4th of July randomly. And
yeah, here's the thing, Laura. I also think that like, there are just some authors that everyone else loves that you're just not as into, and that's okay. I'm also someone where I want to fall in love with the book almost immediately, and I don't have a lot of patience for letting that happen. So if, in my opinion, if it didn't happen for you, who cares? It's fine.
I think with authors that, especially ones that people really enjoy, I typically will not, unless I already own them, will not go and try again another book in that series. But if they published something else, different series, then I will try that. Because a lot of times the voice is what you have a problem with, and the voice may change depending on the story that's being told. So
that's 100% true. Well, and I think of my favorite authors that I've read almost all their books, and some of them, it's like 2 of their books or 2 of their series I'm just not into. I just never got behind the main character, and like, it happens. So in my head, I'm like, I would totally tell someone who had the same experience to try another one of their series. So I think that's a fair thing to do with any, hugely popular author, where it's like, I wonder why I don't like them and everyone else does. That's like, okay, maybe just try different of their books. You never know. Or maybe you just don't like them and it's fine. What's the real? Honestly, you have to read Bardugo's books from far away. Appreciate the story, but don't read too deeply into the stupid love and awkward character moments. That's super interesting. I've never heard someone explain it as you have to read the books from far away, but I kind of like that saying.
It makes sense.
But also, I'm someone who can sometimes appreciate stupid love and awkward character moments. So depending on what kind of stupid love we're talking about, like insta love, not here for.
What story am I interested in?
Yeah. Also, I have to go to the bathroom, Jess. I will be right back.
Bye. Now what are we going to talk about? What can we talk about while Kate's gone? Can we talk about Kate while Kate's gone? That would be rude, wouldn't it? Let's see. Someone's internet decided to fry like an egg. That's cool. Looking forward to Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff and Stephen King's Billy Summers are my most anticipated books of 2021. I have read Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, which I did not enjoy, but I've also read his the books of Amy Kaufman, the Aurora Rising, maybe, and that one I like. I have the second book. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Probably because I have like 140 books I haven't read yet, so I'm a queen at that. But I'm not sure if I'm interested in reading anything else just solely by him, but I may give it a shot when it comes out, because I do like vampire stories, dark vampires especially. I'm more into like the dark vampire than the happy vampire, the cringe Mal moments at the beginning when he hits on anything with boobs, for sure. But, I feel like to an extent, like the way that it was explained, and, I could be wrong here, but I feel like to an extent the girls kind of fawn over him, so like he feels like it's justified. But I could be wrong, because I've only read it the one time, so that was like my takeaway from that. Mal's character is fixed for the show. I haven't read the 3rd book. I mean, I know kind of like what happens, because I mean, you don't make it this long on BookTube without knowing what happens in that trilogy. But I'm interested to see like how they fix things.
Hello.
Our book clubs discussions on YouTube. Yep, we're getting ready to talk about this one right here.
We
Yeah.
are. And now that I have returned, we shall semi-shift over to that. So, one of my favorite things about One of Us is Lying is actually that you could, reflecting back on what happens in the first chapter, I feel like she foreshadowed the whodunit or part of whodunit very early on. Like, it's there.
I haven't reread the first one, but I should have.
The plus side of making the vlogs for all of these books that I've read, or for book club at least, is I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I was thinking at this exact moment. So I remember being like, oh, that's right, that happened. But yes, by the way, we are shifting into book club talk. If you've not read the book and don't want to be spoiled, this is probably the time to go. Bye, Cheyenne. This is your, like, I don't know, 30-second hang out to peace out. Bye.
This one? Bye.
Bye.
Bye, people who are running away and or telling other people bye.
Perfect.
I don't know which.
Park. Oh, JL, I'm weirded that I actually like spoilers. I think that's a good point too. There are definitely some people who are like, I'm down for the spoilers.
Listen, my thought process on spoilers is that I read multiple books. Nope. I read books multiple times. So if I know spoilers, I'm still going to enjoy it because
hold on.
Bye, people who are running away from spoilers. There's still people leaving. So
yes.
So what I want to know from everyone here in the chat, did you know who the killer was in the book? Did you know who the killer was?
No.
Before we were told who the killer was.
Yeah. When did you find out? At what point were you like, aha? Also, it looks very professional that you just have the book set right behind you. Like, it looks good.
I do these things.
Yeah.
This is my job. Oh, hi, me. How you doing? What's up? I at one point in my notes wrote, that's not my reading journal, that's my writing planner. At one point I had thought that I knew who the killer was. I was like, but why would that happen? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I just looked over it and kept going.
Yes. So I didn't expect it to be multiple people sort of in on it or knowing. That's the part that got me, and the people that I was semi-surprised by. Like, she definitely lays the groundwork for, and I don't know the names, I can't remember them now. The ex-boyfriend being like controlling and really terrible, you know? Jake, yes. She lays the groundwork for that pretty early on and just compounds that message over and over again. So you see a greater, and like it's more magnified. But I didn't necessarily suspect that he played any part in it. The foreshadowing bit that I thought was interesting in the first chapter is when Simon's talking about him being the omniscient narrator. Like, he literally said what he was going to be doing, or the role he was going to play in all this in the first chapter, in the first scene even. Yeah. His monologue said it all. And I was like, oh shit. But the extra element of the others knowing was what got me.
Well, and to me, it's like it's hard to be the omniscient narrator when you're dead.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I should say it's easy to pinpoint going back. I didn't think it was going to be that kind of book. So this is the like, if y'all are all still here, I'm going to assume you've read it or whatever, but this is the content warning or trigger warning that we're throwing out there. But I didn't expect it to be a like revenge suicide thing. I did not think that's what the twist was when everyone talked about there being a twist. So
Yeah.
I was surprised. I don't usually like that kind of thing, but this is an exception to that where I did still enjoy the book.
I think it needed to have the addition of Jake and the friend, and I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah.
I didn't write her name down. Why? I don't know. I wrote other names down, not hers. I like that it had that addition of it and that someone was continuing, like that he had planned it, because otherwise it would have felt just like a weird cop out.
Yes. Yeah. No, and I like the additional, they went back and with the Tumblr messages and like kind of trying to further pin it on these 4 kids, and it was just a really interesting thing. I did call oh man, I need to look up the name rather than it being the steroids accusation, but that he was seeing a guy. I called that at the beginning. To be fair, I don't know if it's I just wanted it to happen and it did happen or if I actually thought that was going to happen, but I was like it's like this is Cooper.
Also against that 100%. Like from the moment that you see him, like I don't know if his girlfriend was at the house or if his grandma was talking to him about texting his girlfriend. I don't know, something about him texting like at the kitchen table or something right in the beginning, and I was like, he's texting another guy.
100%. Yep.
100%. Like that was an easy guess.
It was. And I feel like I appreciate that she tried to do the misdirect and like kind of kept at it for a little bit while longer with the steroids angle. But yeah, in comparison with some of the others, that was definitely the obvious one. Speaking of the grandma, Cooper's grandma was freaking awesome. That was a character I did not mention in my blog, and I loved her.
I think too, like the weird thing is like the amount of plot that his boyfriend brought to the story, because they wouldn't have really figured out what they figured out without him. Like he was kind of the mastermind that looked at it from the outside and was like, all right, looking from someone who doesn't have a perspective in this, I see this and this and this and this, and if you put that together, then you get this.
Well, and I appreciate that it also, that didn't feel like a cop-out to me. I thought that was really cool to have Cooper's boyfriend's perspective from someone who's literally not involved. Right. He's not one of the accused and he's not currently trying to, do certain things. I loved that. I was like, and it felt like they had done a lot of the work themselves already. So it didn't feel like they didn't earn
like someone just swept it and answered all of the things.
Yeah, like, haha, what was this? Really, he tied together like 2 things, and that was really nice.
I did make a note in my notes. I made a note in my notes.
Yes.
That as one does. The interesting thing about Jake's character for me was that the story about Cooper being gay was there, and he deleted it and made it a steroids thing instead. Like he made it something that wasn't true, whereas everyone else's was something that was true. And so I feel like on some level he was trying to protect his friend and his friend's secret, but he doesn't seem like he would be that kind of a person. So it's like a very like multi-layered kind of character, and you don't really get it unless you're like looking at that aspect of it, because he's a dickweed.
To be quite
honest.
Yeah, I feel like all of the characters were really fleshed out in a way that they weren't one-dimensional. I was like, even for the characters that sucked, I was kind of like, I kind of see why you did it. You also do some things I don't expect, which is normal for, human beings. And yeah, I appreciated that.
I'm dying. Not really.
The reports you already said. He had a voice and not only a silent side character. Yeah.
Really?
Oh no.
I'm falling apart. It's fine.
That's okay. The wave of tiredness is really rolling over me now. I'm like, oh no, I will stay awake.
I thought it was interesting too, like the characters throughout the book. Addie especially was really annoying at the beginning. Like I did not like her character. And then as the book progressed, like they had a lot of character development and character growth. And I don't feel like, despite the fact that they were being, questioned by the FBI, well, regular police.
Yeah.
The FBI wasn't involved, I don't think. Either way. Like they were being questioned by the police and like her boyfriend broke up with her, but like nothing, like it was like once she got away from the negative voices, she became the person she was supposed to be versus like her learning a lesson and growing from that, which is weird to say, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I really liked the character development. I think everybody had some and then it worked well.
Yes. Yeah. And the character development wasn't linear for all of them. Like they didn't have all the same path, which I appreciated. Right. Like Bronwyn definitely felt like she felt really bad for her mistake, which I guess both of the girls did feel very bad for their mistakes, but they had different growth into who they became at the end of the novel. And I appreciated that it wasn't the same. And then Nate and Cooper had very different growths and different struggles, even though they were both more family related. I loved the aspect of the family for all of them, actually. And I also loved that I feel like Karen McManus really didn't hold any punches on a lot of stuff, where once it became a national story, like the part about how Cooper got his own like Facebook page and everyone loved him because he was attractive and he was like this all-American guy. Like it just feels very reminiscent to how people will idolize murderers if they're hot enough. But then also like, if they've then he's exonerated and he's even more popular. And I just liked that she didn't try and pretend this was some better world or anything. She was just like, nope, this is what would have happened.
And that they pinned everything on Nate because he was the one that came from like the wrong side of the tracks, or like he had parental issues and he had a troubled past. And so naturally, if any of the four did it, it had to have been
him. Mm-hmm. Right. And the way the court system worked against him too felt very like, yeah, that's what would have happened. And that sucks.
It's interesting. I do like it when something is grounded in that reality. Yeah. I do agree with you on like the revenge suicide thing. Like it's not something that I enjoy reading. And I think it's probably because it's something that I just don't understand. Because like who are you getting back at? I don't. It's just weird. And to me, the thing that I probably would have been more convinced that one of the four of them had actually done something, like from a reader standpoint, I would have been more convinced that one of the four of them had done something if they had questioned the teacher. Like they never, like no one ever even suspects him at all.
I appreciate that it's like, I don't know what the police must have done behind the scenes because he was clearly like never a suspect. I liked that the kids were like, what about the teacher at one point, but it's glossed over very quickly. And as a reader, I was like, what about the teacher? So,
right. What about the teacher dude?
Yeah. But I saw someone comment and say that they hoped it had been Bronwyn. And I was like, you know what? Of all the characters of the four, I would have been very interested in a different novel where it was Bronwyn. Like I would have read that. I appreciated her arc and everything that happened for her. And I'm glad for the core four. I'm glad for them that the novel happened the way it did. But like
if it had been only the four of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alexa's absolutely right. There's no way she would get into
that would have actually happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the whole thing isn't based in fact. Let us have one off Alexa, gosh.
I did like that's true. What didn't Yale like tweet her after? Wasn't that the end of it where they're like, we all make mistakes. you're welcome to apply still, or we're excited to get your application or something. That's a good point.
And I think it would have depended on when she had done it. Like if you had cheated on a test in middle school, okay, sure. But, you know, the college thing and having done it like that late in your high school career.
Yeah.
You know.
Alexa, this is so on brand for you, though. And we're excited for your book to come. It's Yale. Yes.
Right. It's Yale. I am interested to see. I do plan to read the sequel, which I know the sequel takes place like in the same town, but it's different characters. It's like the siblings, to an extent, siblings, cousins, relations of those 4 characters. So it's not necessarily them specifically.
Okay.
It's another 4 characters, and there's like another murder, and they already know that the police suck because, you know, their siblings had to solve the last murder. So
that's fascinating. I didn't realize. So when I heard that there was a sequel at first, I thought it was going to involve the same 4 people, and I was like, but then to hear that, and then I thought there was just like no relation at all. It was just kind of in a similar format. That's interesting that it's the siblings or a sibling of one of them. But I have heard good things about it.
Let me look. I know for sure that it is Bronwyn's sister. I don't think it says. I don't think it says how they're all related. But like when I first had read it, I had remember seeing their names, like, you know, or maybe it's just Bronwyn's sister and her friend group. I don't know.
It's not a sequel.
Yeah. I'm crazy. Who knows?
No, I think you got it. You're already saying just one sibling. Other kids from the same school.
Okay. I'm like, I know there was like, yeah, there's a cousins one now, but I don't think it is related.
Yeah. You know what? For what it's worth, if Bronwyn hadn't admitted to it, I think her arc would have still been just as good. Like she learned a lot and ended up, I mean, doing most of the work to solve the mystery. It would have been interesting if she hadn't. But I mean, I still appreciated the novel, how it went.
I wonder if, that's my theory. You know how I go. So what happened was Karen and McManus wanted people to think that if they had admitted to academic cheating, that in the real world they could get away with it and go to Yale. So she wants people to admit that they did it, and that way they won't get to go to Yale. Like she wants people to think it's real.
That's a conspiracy. None of y'all are getting into Yale.
He was just trying to convince us all that it's okay. Oh, it's not accurate, but it sounded good. Let's roll with it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I will have to look up that now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 books to look up from this chat alone.
I don't think the Cousins is part of the series at all. It's just, it might even be a standalone, but it is her newest release. I think it came out like late last year.
It's set in Massachusetts. I like the cover now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, they had it at
oh, interesting.
When I went to pick up One of Us Is Lying, but I didn't want to get it if I wasn't sure. But I was gonna like it, so I don't want to buy 2 of them. Because have you met me? I unhauled 10 books last month.
I'm proud.
From like 3 series. Because I was like, nope, not reading this series. Nope, not reading this series. Nope, not reading this series. It was a great time.
I believe that.
DNF'd the group book for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge this month. It was Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. Oh. And it's the same thing. I was 15% in and I was bored. I wanted to read something else.
That has a good title.
It's not like a terrible book. It just is as we discussed prior to the chat, like I'm in more of a contemporary mood right now.
Yes.
And I just don't have it in me to listen to backstory and historical stuff. And I don't have it in me right now.
Yes. No, that's fair. Also, this is a good time. One, because this shot is kicking my butt and I'm about to pass out. But two, because what a great segue. Should we announce the book club pick for May and June?
We should.
I say as I try and find the not Spanish version, but I'm just going to pull up the Spanish version. Do you have it pulled up? Since we decided today and therefore did not buy it.
Since we decided 2 hours ago. Maybe.
So we are shocked, Alexa. But we want to know all of the best recommendations. I
don't even remember what it's called. Nope, you're on your own. I don't remember what it's called.
Okay. So we're going to read, I'm going to show you the Spanish version because that's what my library has. I am in Texas. I'm in San Antonio. This is what we do. But we are going to read Moringu's I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I will try not to sing the song, or Creo en una cosa llamada amor. I Believe in a Thing Called Love. It sounds very cute. I'm excited. Let me see if I can pull up the Goodreads and we can read what the synopsis is.
My app won't let me pull up the picture. It's very rude.
That is rude. I can share my screen. That's a thing I can do.
Both of us are staring at our phones, and I'm like, we could just screen share right now.
Good.
What is wrong with that?
There we go. Doesn't it look cute? Oh, that's a thing that I guess I could do. There you go. I believe in a thing called love. Desi Lee believes anything is possible if you have a plan. That's how she became student body president, varsity soccer star, and is how she'll get into Stanford. But she's never had a boyfriend. In fact, she's a disaster in romance, a clumsy, stammering, humiliation magnet whose botched attempts at flirting have become legendary with her friends. So when the hottest human specimen to have ever walked into her life one day, no, did I miss that? Into her life one day, Desi decides to tackle her flirting failures with the same zest she's applied to everything else in her life. She finds guidance in the Korean dramas her father has been obsessively watching for years, where the hapless heroine always seems to end up in the arms of her true love by episode 10. It's a simple formula, and Desi is a quick study. Armed with her K-drama steps to true love, Desi goes after the moody, elusive artist, Luca Dracos, and boat rescues, love triangles, and staged car crashes ensue. But when the fun and games turn to true feels, Desi finds out that the real love is about way more than just drama. Ba, ba, ba. Also, phone twins. Oh, yay. Okay. This has been on Life Behind the Covers, TBR. Heck yes. We are very excited.
It is romance heavy, tropey, but that's what I need right now.
We're in the mood for very cute.
You're stuck in a world of my whims.
We have decided. We were looking at like if we wanted to do more fantasy or whatever, but I'm feeling the romance, especially since I'm reading Mort right now. I like to have some opposites going on, so I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Just read, as I have said 6 times today, I just read House of Hollow, and I read Lord of the Rings right before that. And right now I'm reading Lore, and I'm like, I need some contemporary in my life right now, because I can't do anymore. I'm tapped out. I've only read 4 books this month versus the 30 I read the last 2 months. So
maybe your brain was just like recovering from the
I need a break.
No, thanks, Haley. This is a gush fest. Or in the case of Deborah Harkness books, the one book we tried. I think that's the only book club pick that we both have not liked. Is a discovery
that we like absolutely detested. There have been books that we've been kind of like meh about.
Yeah,
but that's the only one.
Opinions. I think the 5th season I really liked, and you were like, it was not your jam. But
Well, and the Laini Taylor book that we just read, My Brain's
Strange
Out.
Dreamer was interesting. I think I liked it more than
Okay. It
yeah.
wasn't my favorite, but
Yeah.
it was good.
Grayson's bookmark. I don't ask questions anymore.
It was technically, I mean, if we're being technical, it was 31 books in 2 months, but because it was 16 in February and 15 in March, but like, who's counting?
Jess is
Me. I'm counting.
If I could read that many books in a month, I would definitely be counting. I would be like singing that from the rooftops.
Well, and I think I picked to read larger books this month because I was like, I need to like slow down, take a breather, read some longer books. I haven't actually gotten to any of those yet, other than Lord of the Rings, but and I am reading more, which was on the list. Someone asked how it is. I'm only on page 66, so I'm not sure yet. It's very, I don't want to say info dumpy because it's not necessarily like they're info dumping. There's just a lot of information up front.
Interesting.
It's like a 500-page book, so like I need to breathe. It's a chunky baby. It's right here. It's a chunk.
That is a chunk. That's a chunk. Yeah.
Like in comparison.
The height difference too.
Of course.
That's cute.
This is heavy. Like,
yeah.
This is what we call a weapon.
I was gonna say you can do a book workout with those.
It is not more than 500 pages, so it is not technically a weapon. I don't call them tomes. I call them weapons when they're over 500 pages. But it's 470 pages, so it's very close to a weapon.
It's close. Yay! Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, chatting foreshadowing in Camp NaNoWriMo, and one of us is lying in our new book club pick, I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maringu. Again, I will try not to sing that title next time, but no promises.
I'm just going to be singing The Darkness from now on.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see